Hey YouTube, Planet Aquarium MN, bringing you a quick video today on my RO system. And if you're like me and you use RO for multiple tanks, or maybe one large reef tank or a very large discus tank, and you are having troubles getting enough RO out of your enough RO water getting produced out of your current RO system, I'm going to talk to you real quick about a solution. And this solution was actually something that Mr. Man316 here on YouTube made me aware of. I was emailing Mike a little bit about my RO system, and he had mentioned that Bulk Reef Supply, where I bought my RO system from, sold an upgrade kit that would instantly double the production, the water production out of my RO system. And not only that, but it actually cuts the wastewater and reduces it by almost up to half. And now, as a personal choice, I use RO water in all of my fish tanks. I need to use RO water in my 55-gallon shrimp tank. And then I choose to use RO water in my 75-gallon discus grow out, my 37-gallon quarantine tank, and then out in my family rec room I've got a 75-gallon planted tank and my 120-gallon discus tank. But as a hobbyist, I choose to use RO water for all my tanks. And the reason is this: the water coming out of my taps is essentially liquid rock. It's got a very high TDS. My pH is 8.6. My KH and my GH are off the chart. So I just find it easier for me to be able to use RO water and then add some minerals back into the water and reconstitute it to the exact parameters that I want for each of my tanks. And I do keep my discus tanks a little different from my planted tanks, and they're different from my shrimp tank, but it just allows me to manage my water parameters and dial them in based on the specific needs of my fish or plants or shrimp. So, but this is my current RO system, and originally I had a 4-stage RO system with a single membrane, and Mike made me aware of the 150 gallon per day water saver upgrade kit. And essentially what it is, it's a second membrane that you add to your unit. And how it works is your water line comes in, it goes through the different canisters, and then it goes into the first membrane, and then the waste line, that black line, the waste line then feeds the second membrane, and the pure water coming out of both membranes are tied together in a Y adapter, and then that feeds into the DI resin, and then ultimately down here into my RO reservoir. So, I talked to Bulk Reef Supply. They have a video online at bulkreefsupply.com. The video is very self-explanatory. It took me less than 5 minutes to hook this up, and it has instantly doubled my production. It has cut down on my wastewater, and it is working extraordinarily well. Now, what I also did is I added an additional canister. So now I have a 5-stage dual membrane RO system, and it's working great. So now my feed line comes into this first canister, which is a 5-micron sediment. That feeds into a 5-micron carbon block, which feeds into a 0.6 micron carbon block, which then feeds into my first RO membrane, and then the wastewater goes through my second RO membrane. The 2 blue lines coming out on the backside tie together, then it goes through my DI and then into my reservoir. Now on startup, when you first start up an RO system or when you back flush your membranes, it produces a higher amount of TDS in the water, which can cause your resins, your DI resins, to exhaust a lot faster. So what I've also done now is I've added a T valve in here, and I can switch this off and divert my startup water or my back flush water. I can divert that into a separate drain, and then after a minute just flip it back to the DI chamber and everything's good to go. So it's working out extremely well. Now in the past, I just had this 44-gallon reservoir, and then I'd fill up my Homer buckets, and if I did a water change on a tank, I'd do a lot of maintenance on the weekends. If I did a water change in the morning, I would hope that I'd have enough water by evening to be able to do maintenance on a second tank, and that wasn't the case. Because the water temperature and You know, the fact I was using 1 micron sediments and 1 micron carbon blocks, my system was only producing about 50-55 gallons a day. Now as it is, you know, I've got 44 gallons here. I've got a second reservoir, 32 gallons here of RO water. I can use these, do maintenance on a tank, or now I have enough to do at least 2 tanks with these here. And by the end of the night, this will be full, and I'll start dumping water into this one here. So I have more than enough to do multiple tanks per day now. So it's worked out really well. Again, if you have an RO system and you're trying to increase production out of it, short of buying a second RO system, check out Bulk Reef Supply and search for their 150 gallon per day water saver upgrade kit. They have an instructional video online. Their customer service is outstanding. They'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have. If there's anything I can help you out with, I'll do my best. However, I'm not an expert at ROs, but I will definitely do my best to answer and point you in the right direction, as would, I'm sure, Mr. Man 316. So if you're looking for more water production out of your RO, your needs are definitely higher than your supply, check out the upgrade kit at bulkreefsupply.com. You won't regret it. It's very simple to snap together, and it works great. So anyways, I appreciate you watching my videos and checking out my channel. If you have any questions, let me know. Like always, we'll catch you guys later.